You can see that now we only have two categories or two items directly in the shell: creative tools and productivity tools. And each of these categories shows below it the various tools that have been created as tabs. Now suppose you want a new hierarchy of tools, like the one you can see on screen. Here we have the two categories, or well, yes, categories we created earlier, but suppose now we want a new subcategory named, for example, text tools, to include tools related only to text. The way to accomplish this is by explicitly creating tab type elements where these new categories will be nested. How do we do this? Let's go back to my shell.xaml, and wherever we want to create this new hierarchy of information or tools, let's go below the flyout item. Let's specify a tab element with a specific title, for example, text tools, just as we saw in the example. For the icon, I'll use the same icon we used before, and with that, we have created a new hierarchy. Now I'll export these two tools and we have a tab ready. To see this functionality, or this new hierarchy, in action, I'll duplicate this tab element with its utilities. Even if they are repeated, it's not a problem, and now let's start running the application. Before showing how this looks, I'm going to change the title of this tab here to Other Tools, to simulate that we're basically creating a set of additional subtools. So I go to Productivity Tools, and you can notice that we have the same pair of tabs that we had previously. However, now they are named differently because these are the elements we have added, and each of these elements has at the top each of the specific utilities. So we're adding a new level of hierarchy as part of the application through these tab elements you see on the screen. Alright, I'm going to stop the application from running, and with this, we've finished seeing the basics of hierarchies in Shell. Let's quickly see how we can customize this shell we've been working with. For this, within this same file, my shell.xaml, we are going to modify this shell tag, and we can use some properties, for example, flyout icon, which would allow us to specify an icon for the flyout. We could also add a header and a footer to the flyout, to that sliding element we've seen in action. How can we do it? Well, we're going to do this. Here, I'm going to copy and paste some code specifying shell.flyoutHeader and inside the content we want to add. We can also use shell.flyoutFooter and also specify some XAML content that we want to show to users, for example, this powered by and dev school. Let's see these changes in action. You can see that we already have the modified icon in the flyout for display. And you can also see that we now have both the header and the footer as part of this flyout. Another thing we can do is modify the flyout items, since right now they basically have the default visual structure. How can we do this? Well, through the definition of shell.itemtemplate, where we can use a couple of additional properties. So, after shell.flyoutFooter, I'm going to copy and paste some code here, which is shell.itemtemplate, where we define a data template. Inside, we place the XAML code that we want to use to represent the user interface. Here, just in case we want to reuse the content we've already specified for title and icon of the elements shown in the shell, we can make a binding to the flyout icon property and the title property. As we see here, they allow us to display in a visual XAML element the data we've already specified previously, because this is essentially a template. So, the value is extracted and shown as part of the template. Here we simply have this grid with a rectangle, an image, and a label. Let's see how it looks. Okay, now we have the application. I'm going to display the menu, and you can see that the menu is already being shown here with a custom style. However, you may have noticed there's an issue. We can no longer see which item is currently selected. To resolve this issue, we can use Visual State Manager to control the coloring. Now, I'd like to mention that if you want to know more about this topic, you can check out my course that is currently available on Pluralsight, where I go into detail about this. So before closing this div here, I'm going to paste in the code that I had previously prepared, so you don't have to write all of this. This works with Visual State Manager and Visual State Groups. You specify the common state. In the normal state, certain properties and values are specified, and in the selected state, others are set. With this change, let's see how it looks. And you can see that now it works correctly. We have a red highlight to show which shell element is currently selected, and it looks really good. Another thing we can modify, in case we need to, is the appearance of the tabs. This is done through the use of some attached properties. I'm going to copy and paste some properties I had previously specified. You can see we have shell, dot, and those that start with the word tab bar are the ones we can modify. After making these changes, I'm going to quickly run the application. I'm going to expand one of the items here, and you can see that the colors are correctly applied from what we've specified in the XAML code, like the yellow or this purple color, which gives us a more personalized look. Lastly, I'd like to mention that all these properties I just showed you, if you go to Resources, then the Styles folder, and finally styles.xaml and search for shell. I'm going to look for it. You'll find all the properties that are applied by default here. One of the advantages is that you can specify a color for light theme and a color for dark theme. So, if you don't want to customize each property from myshell.xaml, you could do it in a resource dictionary and set the values you want here. And well, we've reached the end of this video. I hope you liked it and that it's useful for you to customize and make the most of Shell. I invite you to subscribe, share the video, and I'll see you in the next one.